What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome to the first podcast of our brand new season, first podcast of 2020. We are here at Pub BreWskey, or more accurately, the BreWskey Taproom on Rue de la Commune in Old Port, Montreal. This season is called Against the Grain. We are interviewing Quebec breweries who have gone against what is typically known and loved and widely produced here in this glorious Arctic tundra of a province that we call home. BreWskey have opened this tap room, I want to say about a year ago. We are about to sit down with the owners and head brewer, or owner Guillaume and owner and head brewer Derrick. We're going to chat about why they took the path they took. You might remember from episode 68, we spoke with them upstairs in the pub. Now we're talking to them in their brand new tap room, and they have their own brewery setup and system here, which is fantastic, and it's allowing them to really change the game with their new beers. So we're going to go do that. It feels like minus 29 here today, so we're going to get inside and let's get into some beers.
Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
The thing with you guys, and the reason why you guys are the first episode in this series where we're really focusing on breweries that have kind of gone against what Quebec typically makes, is that back when we did the interview a couple of years ago, I feel like the stuff that you had sort of beers that were a little bit on the New England style, and like you know, typically you're in Old Port. This is a tourist area primarily. People live here, but it's primarily tourists. So you got to cater to a wider palate range than the average brewery. Is that fair to say?
For sure.
Yep. So then with the beers that you were making, you were able to do a couple ones. You had like the was it called Kilogram? Kilogram, and the other ones that were sort of like the single hops, and a couple like IPAs that were more on the hazy style, which even 2 years ago, not many breweries or brew pubs in and around Montreal were doing that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
And then this is the way I see it, and I think you'll probably correct me. I saw specifically, Derrick, you were a part of Porno, which is a fellow YouTuber, be a YouTuber channel. You guys were traveling to places that we go to, some of the places you've been to, and you guys were just coming back with insane amounts of haze. You guys were just getting the fire shit. Yeah. And then coming back, and the way from the outside, like I come in, I see you guys here and there and stuff, and from what it looked like is that you guys had an appetite for something that you couldn't get locally.
Yeah.
You went outside of the province. You went to Vermont, you went to New York, you went to Massachusetts, New England generally, to get those beers, and then those beers inspire what you wanted to make. And that's why the type of stuff that you guys are doing right now, whether it's the canned stuff or the project beers or just the fun, the different dry hop pilsners, which I don't really see that many of, to be honest. Like, you guys are really doing something that I haven't seen a lot in Montreal, and that is personally extremely underserved and very welcome in the scene. So could you guys speak to what inspired you to make these beers that the average person, average Montreal or Quebec might not have had access to?
I think it's like, even before doing the YouTube thing, that's something that's really recent.
Okay.
I've always just beer traveled for a long time, because I've been in the industry, even though I didn't have the pub, for about 9 years. So just going from place to place, massive interest in terms of what was being done out there. But even then, when I first started homebrewing, like the first styles I made were just the stuff that was like Belgium style, because that's what you can get in Quebec. You kind of build the first
German Belgian style.
Yeah, German's a little bit harder because didn't have refrigeration, so you want the Belgian style, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But then you're just, because it's all ale based.
Oh, don't say that to the Belgian.
Just on hotter temperatures, I have to cool it down. But because of that, like the first time I ever had an IPA wasn't at Alexander Keith's until you realize that's a lie.
Yes.
Was because I brewed one, and then I had it. It was like, I was confused on if I even did a good job, because I had never had it before.
Interesting.
So then I was able to like slowly understand what bittering is, because like at that level, usually everything was kind of sweet. And then going to the States and trying out products was always, okay, this is what an IPA is, this is what a good IPA is. and then being able to just develop my taste around it, and then wanting to brew beers that I wanted. Because I've always had that issue where you come around and then you go to bars, you go to breweries, you go to pubs, and they don't necessarily have what you want. So you kind of try to develop, but there's remaining that we were getting like a little bit more of a culture of beer around here.
Okay.
Like Castal was around with Yakima, and we're like, God, that's great. We're getting a few breweries that are pulling out some nice stuff. So like, perfect. There's a hunger for hops that's really building in Quebec, and we have it already. So let's just develop our products around that way. But obviously that kept it going no matter what. As going around and like, as the beer styles were developing more and more in the U.S. and everywhere, mostly in Burlington, because just how close it is for us. You go there and you're like, this is what they call a pale ale. Like, this isn't a pale ale. This is and then you just get used to it, and you're like, you know what? I want my pale ale to taste like this. And you just keep going down that path, and and then like during our trips, we went through like Hudson Valley, went to Other Half. Other Half is definitely one of what pushes us to do something like the Avena.
The oat cream, I think they started that, and this gave me heavy Other Half.
Well, I mean,
in the best possible way.
we were obviously everyone was looking forward to try this crazy imperial peanut because we were known. This is the only beer we canned before and distributed in Quebec.
So that's a peanut buster. It was a peanut stout. What was ABV, like 6.3? 6.3, and now we've done the imperial one and that was the first one. You did a run of cans, I want to say a year ago.
2 years ago. 2 years and a half. We did 2 runs.
And that did well. That just cleaned out.
It took me a day to sell the second batch.
Right.
I mean, to Depeners.
So. Right. Yeah.
But anyway, there was
too,
when you were talking about like creating something different, that's what got us, the BreWskey name out.
Yep. So
we knew what we were doing.
Right.
We were mainly brewing IPAs, pale ales, stuff like that. But we knew that the peanut buster would be like something different to put on the market, and we've been kind of the victim of that as people associate BreWskey to mainly peanut buster, like stouts like that.
Right.
When we were brewing a lot of different IPAs,
which at the time was pretty interesting. Like no one had done it. I don't think I'd ever had a peanut stout.
Not in Quebec
at all. No.
I don't know. And there was
BAOS had done one.
Yeah,
but
I think we talked about that 2 years ago. Don't you remember?
BAOS had done one, but it
Podcasts are
wasn't that
fucking
great.
blur to me, dude. I never remember anything.
No, but it got us.
Okay. It was very unique in Montreal.
Definitely,
at the very least.
And we had to brew that by contract brewing. It was 1,000 liter, 1,200, something like that.
Right.
And it worked out pretty well. And that got us to say, hey, you know what? That's really what we wanted to create, even if it was a little crazy, and people are responding pretty positively.
Right.
It's doing great. So let's keep on going that way and create what we really want, even if it sounds crazy.
Right.
And we came out lately with a smoothie Berliner Weiss, smoothie sour, 6%, crazy amount of fruits. It got a lot of people talking. The Avena, which was a little different version of an IPA that you see every day. And I think we understood that that's what people want. That's what people are it's gonna bring people over.
Right, but you guys had the palate for this stuff first.
Yes, because one of the things to also consider is that initially when we started, one of my visions was to import a lot of American beers.
Okay.
And then
in this specific space.
In this specific space, and then we quickly realized with the first importation that by the time they get here, they're ruined.
Because they have to hold it for 12 weeks, right?
Even more. So you get an IP, and they're held hot. So the first thing I bought was a Sierra Nevada Torpedo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good
and
one.
we got them in after we had like the first 2 weeks was fine, and then we returned
Quickly.
They were ruined, like completely ruined. They were just.
It doesn't matter. I had my whiskeys and scotch at that time.
So you were good.
It's fine.
So quickly enough, we're like, we can't actually take these beers in, and because we started off as a beer bar, we couldn't brew our own beers because we hadn't found a place to do contract breweries initially. So we just started off with going, let's just import these beers. We'll be like the American beer bar in Montreal, because nobody's really doing that.
Yeah.
And then just the fact that we couldn't get them in was like, you know what, let's just do them. And then that's how we found a place that was able to take us in and start doing those beers.
Right.
Just because we gave up very quickly. The freshness is so important in these IPAs.
Of course.
It's like, except for the West Coast ones, which it is important to have fresh, but just so many people are used to having them like on a shelf and picking them well off the shelf.
You see,
it's almost part of the style to be a hot beer. That's almost
you see it now. There's a lot of not a lot, but few beer importation companies nowadays in Montreal, and they're not importing any IPAs or maybe few. It's mainly
mostly
sours and crazy
stouts,
stouts.
Belgian stuff sometimes. Yeah. So did you guys notice what I sort of referred to earlier? Did you guys notice the lack of these style of beers in Montreal? Because I used to complain all the time on this podcast that nobody was in Montreal was making these type of beers. So like, being that I traveled a lot, I got to, same as you, like you were saying, I got to go around and drink these beers in the States and other places. When I come back home and I was like, I'm not able to access them when I go out in the city. So I feel like you guys started introducing it. I would arguably say you guys were one of the first sort of brew pubs doing a consistent sort of haze, and then now you've gone like
we always
crazy.
kept it on.
Right.
I think Boreal made the difference.
But they didn't have a brew pub that was my only difference. So Boreal
of
changed
course.
the game for sure.
Of course.
In the scene with the Nord-Est, and people were lining up for it, and it was showing. I think that moment was the pivotal moment for Quebec.
Yeah, we stopped the IBU competition.
Develop the palate. And then made people like it brought the American style haze hype to Quebec, which hadn't really been experienced here before. And it showed that like, because I've had people pretty much say that it's like brewers in Quebec that like, people don't really want that, and it's not really something that's going to be popular. And as you can tell, most breweries don't make
it's
that.
historical too. As you said, it was mainly Belgian. There was a lot of German influence, and now you're talking about kind of competing with the American, which are like used to be at least 5 years ahead. And it's difficult because it's tough to get to that quality. Now it has changed a lot in the past few years. I mean, I bring a lot of beers to friends in Vermont, and they're understanding.
From Quebec?
Yeah. Back in ours, Missouri, lately, Le Castor, and they're impressed. So the
Americans is understanding they're like, oh wow, like you guys are making some serious stuff here.
Yeah, no, they're most impressed with the panel of beers that we're capable of brewing in Quebec.
Right. That's a really good upside for Quebec. You get everything really
sours,
amazingly well done here.
Stouts, like some crazy brown ale, some nice barrel age, some fantastic sours. I mean, Dunham has changed the game on that part, on the barrel aging and sours, and they're realizing it's cool to show the American that there's something else too, because we were like really trying to do the same as they do, and
now they're like, oh, let's see what these Quebec guys are doing.
exactly,
Like,
definitely.
Because if you come to Montreal as just a beer drinker that's not from here, every pub, every brewery you go to is just so, well, like not different. You can go to a lot of places that are different. You go to Zur Ciel, you get a whole bunch of Belgium styles. They're starting to do the new stuff also, but mostly you go there for the Belgium styles. Go to La Mer à Boire, you're gonna get all those nice crisp lagers and everything. Beautiful. Then you go, then you just go, any kind of place you go to has their own thing, but they all have a wide range of beers.
Right.
A lot of times when I go to, and like most places in Burlington, it just seems to be very obviously just singular heavy towards the haze.
Yes.
And then a little bit of the other stuff, which is all good and fine. That's how I'm gonna drink, but it's not how everybody's gonna drink.
No. But I think for people like us being here in Montreal, we go there because we couldn't get that at home. And that's what this whole season is about, is like how people, like you guys changed that. So what made you guys, aside from you guys being, like, was it a selfish decision being like, I want to drink more haze, goddammit, so I'm going to brew this shit? That's really all it came down to.
Yeah,
of course. I love that.
And it just kept progressively making it hazier as I was going along.
Because I feel like the old ones a couple of years ago were hazy, but they weren't like, I mean, this is a sour. I mean, if you're listening at home, this is like milky, like haze in a sour, which is not what I expected when I was like, I want that one. This is exactly what I would have loved to see. This is perfect. But like, this is not what people are used to seeing.
No.
And it's cool to see the progression. Even the cans you got here, the Avena and the Breaking Ground, are both like milk haze, like fancy shit.
And what we're the most proud of is also like the fact that the Avena, even though it's sat in a tank for, it just matured in a tank for about 5 weeks, 6 weeks. It won't drop out. It'll never change in terms of color.
Right.
Obviously, let it sit a year, it'll change like any beer. Everything will coagulate off. But it's not the kind of heavy that you sometimes see in Quebec beers, where you get them, and once you finish pouring them out, then you still have the big chunk on the bottom, and you can you just get the yeast. It's almost the haze is created by the yeast more than the fact that there's permanent haze due to the beta-glucans or whatever the hell's inside of it, the polyphenols. And we really like that. That's what we're getting in terms of product, and then we go to the other ones, stuff like the crispology, where we want them to be clear. We have no filter here, so it's just time. Just wait for it. This one was like
2 months.
Yeah, 2 months, easy.
Jeez.
2 months of sitting.
That's crazy.
Sitting in the tank, letting it go. All our style, everything just drops out normally, like
2
we want
months.
them to.
That's what a crispy boy wants.
Yeah.
That's what it needs to get.
Crispy wants. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we get to we pick and choose what we want to be clear, but everything's not filtered no matter what.
And in the end, we might brew what we want, but we cannot want everything.
Yeah.
No.
Realize we want. I mean, we're into sours, we're into pilsners, we're into pale ales, we're into brown ales, we're into maybe not black IPA. That's what
That's kind of the only one I have a restriction towards.
Which one, sorry?
Black IPA.
That's a joke in between the all of us.
So many people, because we ask people, hey, what kind of beer would you like me to do? They're like, black IPAs or black milkshake IPAs. And that's kind of the only one I have a hard time with.
Not messing with it.
Yeah, not messing with it.
I respect that.
I might try something, but not like.
Well, that's even a bigger challenge.
Yeah.
We don't
'Cause I
really
guess it's not-
Make
yeah,
one
just
that I would like.
that you would like
Hard.
might be, but it
Yeah.
would appeal. So, did you guys think, what did you think would happen with the patrons? Like, being that you made the beers for yourself, and I find that breweries and brewers that make beers that they want to drink always turns out better because they're passionate about it and they make it exactly how they want it. How did you guys think the people were going to respond, and how did they respond?
I think that if we like the same beers with it, which I think most people do, most people would agree. Like if you're like us, we go to other half, we're like, holy shit, this
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
You go to Hudson Valley, you go, oh wow, this is how interesting, how delicious. Go through all these breweries. If you're in that palate and you like those kinds of beers, if you're making what you like, you're making stuff that a lot of people already like. You're not being
Right.
special by liking these products.
Right.
So because of that, it makes it kind of easy.
Okay.
You already, the people that are coming here are people that go to those places that want that. They come here because they're like, oh, it's the same thing as
Sort of
us
mindset.
going. Yeah,
Sort of mindset. And I think that we're not. I mean, we do prepare, we do brew what we like, and it's usually what other beer geeks, beer aficionados like. But we really are trying to get into like ahead of the curve and
Right.
really get. You know what? I think the smoothie vice is going to work out. It seems to work somewhere else as well, but that's what we want to drink right now. Let's try that. Let's do it. We've, the peanut buster was a gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically,
know that
on paper, it doesn't.
And that's why we have a 200-liter system now. We have a little pilot system just for that. We want to gamble every day without the consequences
That's our
of brewing
craziness.
15
and that's how you can pump out so much stuff.
Yeah, and
But then you got
that's
the big guys that you can all
that's-
right, this is
yeah.
working, and it graduates.
Well, I mean,
to,
it came the Imperial Peanut came from originally from the pilot system. We tried an Imperial Peanuts. I'm saying
No, the Imperial Peanut, the first time we did the Imperial Peanut, I think it was our second brew on our pilot system, was us trying, we were going to go, you know what, let's just do something big as a kickoff beer.
Okay.
Like, let's just do an Imperial Peanut, so we just did a test batch. But a lot of the beers that we've had, like, they start off as a test, the 200 liter, and they're like, okay, perfect, we like it enough, let's migrate it to a bigger system, or, because
Right.
the premise will be to continue doing cans.
Okay.
The purpose of the pilot system is to like develop the styles and the knowledge to be able to go to the next style of products.
Is it also to test it out in the market as well and let people try it and then see what the response is, or you don't even really
yes
care?
and no.
No,
You-
of course. Yeah. There's a bit of that.
course.
We're checking, we're following up on what people liked or didn't like. Now, it's not going to be the main reason we're dropping it out or we actually selling more.
Okay.
It might be, obviously, if the pilot system brew is going to work out.
It has to sell.
Okay.
Like obviously,
Right.
if it sells quick, we know okay, it has legs, it has potential. We can move it to the next one for sure. But a lot of the times, what we do is for the beer drinker. It's for us in terms of knowledge base. Because like right now, to give an example, the Singularity series is that it is for the consumer to know what new hops are, but it's also mainly for us as
Right.
brewers to go
Test it out,
Okay,
yeah.
let's test what this hop is. Let's have it over a course of a few pints and see what it is on a mono hop We don't change the malt bill. We don't change the yeast. We change nothing. It's
just a
6.8% alcohol, just consistent, and one hop, and that's what it is. So far, we did
It still goes hand to hand with what the beer lover wants, because a lot of people, Montreal in general, people are a lot more beer educated now.
Yeah, I've
and
seen
people
that.
are talking about certain hops that they like, which is, I mean,
Pretty
4
cool,
years
right?
ago.
That wasn't happening, eh? Yeah.
They didn't know what the hops were, and you see more and more hops written on the cans, on Untapped, and that's the idea behind it. Is we want to try, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to try mono hop beer to really like test what the hop tastes like. You know,
It comes from and the idea comes from like what a smash is, right?
Yeah.
Which is the
Single malt and single hop.
exactly. However, I told myself, what's the point? Because a lot of the smashes, depending on how you do them, they're just kind of unidimensional. Like perfect. I'm not going to do a smash. I'm going to make a consistent base that we just know what the base tastes like.
Right.
I know what my New England base tastes like on that specific one because we're not changing it, as I said. So from beer to beer, you can just have them and just know that the only difference you're having is that hop.
Right.
So you're getting a better beer, in my opinion, than a smash. I think it's very hard to make a very like just this is what the smash is going to be like.
Yeah.
So I make a beer that's a New England that I want to have, and then I incorporate just that solo hop as being that flavor profile. So then it gives you that one important factor for us. What does this taste like in a New England?
Guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank
This
you.
is good.
Thanks for coming.
Where can everybody find you guys online?
well, I mean, obviously the webpage, which is brewskey.ca.
Yep.
There's always mistakes on brewskey. It's BREWSKEY.ca.
Because it's between brew and whiskey.
Exactly.
Ah, I like that. I like that.
Irish
a lot.
spelling of whiskey.
Irish with the E. It's the E in the name.
And we also have we are very active on our Facebook page and Instagram accounts.
Which are? It's Pub BreWskey on
Pub
Instagram.
BreWskey Instagram and
Do you want me to do your job? Fucking marketing guy right here.
It's my job. So it's
Derrick was there, sorry, yeah.
Pub BreWskey on Instagram.
Yep. And what is it on Facebook?
It's
that's what you would know. Pub BreWskey again, I'm assuming.
I was supposed to warn you guys beforehand. Hey, just double check everything. Tiff told me to tell you, and I forgot.
I was drinking single hop. I would think that he would know because he's the one who does
yes,
it.
but I changed it lately. I think it's Brasserie BreWskey.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. And it's three.
On Untapped.
Just put a little. Just put a little.
Oh no, Tiff puts it out there.
Right here, there.
She pops it all up.
Yeah.
And what's the address here for the tap room? 308.
It's 385
385.
Rue de la Commune Est. And up there it's 380 Rue Saint-Paul Est.
Okay.
They're pretty much both 380s, just St. Paul East and
It's get to the Beausecours Market and you'll see us.
There's two entrances. You can enter both. It's a glorious thing. Come by, pick up some cans, get a growler to go, try everything, and that is it, guys. Thank you so much. If you guys enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast, and check out the long form audio so you can hear exceptionally attractive gentlemen. I don't know why I'd say intelligent. That's pretty a good sign, right? I started to say intelligent, and then I would say attractive, really.
We can be both.
I feel like you can. I feel like that's really what it's about in 2020. You know? That is it, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.